Well, folks, it's time to send a happy trails to one of the greatest athletes this region has ever produced. A man who's been synonymous with excellence in our community for many years. I'm talking about Mr. Dick Barnett.
And now here he is, called the most exciting shooter in basketball, Dick Barnett.
Barnett was a legend at Tennessee State, and that's where I wanted to go to college because of Dick Barnett, man.
Under Hall of Fame head coach John McClendon, Barnett led the proud HBCU to 3 consecutive NAIA titles in the late 1950s. After playing for both the Syracuse Nationals and Los Angeles Lakers, Barnett joined the New York Knicks in 1965.
Barnett with the ball, drives the lane, stops, and shoots. It is good. Knicks are red hot.
He was driven by desire to excel that really made his game intense and helped him be a better player.
He immediately became the team's top scorer, utilizing his trademark jump shot.
He had that fallback baby. That was what he used to say when he shoot, meaning, hey, man, you can fall back. This is good. When I shoot the ball, you can fall back.
Fall back, baby.
After an all-star season in 1968, Barnett helped lead the Knicks to 2 NBA titles in the early 1970s.
Cross court Barnett from 20, he jumps, yes!
He was one of the essential parts of that first championship. He wasn't a one-dimensional player, and he wasn't a one-dimensional person. He played both ends of the court, and he was a great teammate.
I want to thank the Hall of Fame. It's an honor to be named a part of the 2024 Hall of Fame class. Started playing basketball, playing with a ping pong ball and a tin cup, and Roosevelt School, the coaches heard about that. And they said, if you can put this ping pong ball into a tin cup, obviously you should be able to do something with a basketball and a basket, and that's how I started my career on the playgrounds of Roosevelt School in Gary, Indiana. I would get up in the wintertime when it had snowed, and I would go to the basketball court at Roosevelt School with my gloves and my shovel, shoveling the snow off the court so I could play basketball. One of the things that happened when I was on the playgrounds that changed my life around, John McLendon came out, introduced himself, and said, "I'm John McLendon at Tennessee State." And I had never thought that I would be even considered being a college student, and obviously that whole relationship changed my life around completely. I paid the price for thousands and thousands of hours. Rain, sleet, and snow was part of the tour.
Yes, it was. One of the greatest athletes, maybe the greatest athlete this city of Gary has ever produced. We just celebrated him going into the Basketball Hall of Fame last year. I always love to celebrate people who've done a great job, who have made this city, made this region, made this community proud. And Dick Barnett is somebody, this is a man who was born into a segregated city here in Gary in 1936, who went to Roosevelt High School. In his senior year, he led the Roosevelt Panthers to the state championship. This was the first final ever in this country's history where 2 predominantly black basketball squads faced each other in a high school championship game. They ended up losing to Oscar Robertson's Crispus Attucks High School. You know, Oscar Robertson's one of the greatest players ever. Like, he's right up there with, you know, Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and LeBron and all these types of people. There's no shame in losing to Oscar Robertson. He's a super duper Hall of Famer. But yeah, they lost to Crispus Attucks in the state championships. But Dick Barnett was an all-state player at Roosevelt High School. He went to Tennessee State, the predominantly black school, historically black school. You notice a lot of the players back then went to historically black schools. And I've said for a long time that we need to start encouraging black athletes to go to predominantly black universities again. You know, those guys were instilled with a sense of pride in their community and a sense that they were representing not just themselves, not just their families, but their entire community. And you heard in that video Walt Clyde Frazier say that he wanted to go to an HBCU. He wanted to go to Tennessee State because he saw that Dick Barnett went there. And those things matter. Those things absolutely matter. It's one of the reasons why I was happy when, again, sort of linking back to a theme we're going to talk about later on, when Deion Sanders went to Jackson State and took his sons to Jackson State with him, that I was hoping that would start a trend of young black kids going to predominantly black universities again. It's one of the reasons why I was disappointed when he chose to leave Jackson State University. But the HBCUs produced some of the greatest black men and women that we've ever had in this country. And a lot of it is because it instilled them with a sense of pride and duty to their community. And so it's important to understand that is a big part of Dick Barnett's legacy. This man, he didn't just go to Tennessee State, though. He actually got a bachelor's degree from Cal Poly later, and he also got an MBA from NYU, and then a PhD in education from Fordham University. So Dick Barnett just wasn't some dumb jock here. This is a man who got a PhD from Fordham, got an MBA from NYU, one of the most prestigious colleges in this country. He was a 3-time Associated Press Little College All-American. They won 3 consecutive NAIH national championships. He received back-to-back Most Valuable Players honors in 58 and 59 during those tournaments. They actually became the first historically black college while he was there to win an integrated men's basketball title. So again, this man was a pioneer in so many ways. He graduated as Tennessee State's all-time leading scorer with over 3,000 points scored. Was inducted into the NAIA Hall of Fame in 1990. He was inducted into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame in 1993. In 2005, he was inducted to the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. In 2007, he was inducted into the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame along with his coach, John McClendon. In 2012, he was named to the NAIA 75th Anniversary All-Star Team. And in 2016, he was inducted into the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame. And of course, last year, he was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. That's the big one, where all the greats end up. He was drafted by the Syracuse Nationals in 1959. He ended up playing for the Lakers by the early 60s. Thrived in the 6-man role behind Elgin Baylor and Jerry West, also 2 of the greatest players who ever played, top 10 to 15 players themselves ever. He was traded to the Knicks in the mid-60s, where he made the All-Star team and helped them win 2 championships in the early 70s. In 1990, the Knicks retired his jersey in the rafters of Madison Square Garden. So that just shows you once again, you can go from playing with a little ping pong ball in a tin cup in Gary, Indiana, to having your jersey raised in the rafters of Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena on the planet. That is what is possible for any young man or woman listening to this show right now in this community, in this region. because the next story I want to talk about is another basketball Hall of Famer from this region, a man who I personally consider the greatest living basketball coach, Mr. Gregg Popovich. I don't know if you've heard, but he has just stepped down from his spot with the San Antonio Spurs. He had a stroke at the end of last year, and it brings to an end almost a 30-year career as a coach in the NBA within that Spurs organization. Gregg Popovich, not only the greatest coach to come from this part of town, he was born in East Chicago, graduated from Maryville High School, but he's also, I believe, the greatest living basketball coach, period. And, you know, he's had a great career. And it's, you know, he's done a lot for a lot of people. He's always, one of the things I've admired most about Gregg Popovich is that he's been outspoken politically. When a lot of people have been very afraid to make their views known, Gregg Popovich has always been right there to tell people what he feels. He was always very critical of the first Trump administration. I'm sure he'll be critical of this one, because hopefully he will stick around a little bit longer. I know he lost his wife some years ago, unfortunately, but he is definitely somebody who all of us in the region can really be proud of. Gregg Popovich has been a great coach for a very long time. Won 5 championships as the coach of the Spurs. Helped bring glory to people like Dennis Rodman, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, now Victor Wembanyama. He's Victor Wembanyama's first coach. Looks like he's going to be the next all-time great player. So I just want to say, hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he gets better, and I hope he knows that all of us here in the region, we're very proud of him and what he's accomplished over the last 30 years in the NBA. And just get better, brother. Get better. East Chicago's own. And before we go to our first break, I think it's important to talk about this particular story as well. Another local story. Monday was the 14th birthday of Ja'Niyah McMichael, the young girl who went missing here in this city. And Gary police are working with the FBI, and they still want you guys out there to be on the lookout for young Miss McMichael. We have not given up hope that we can find her. I'm putting her picture up on the stream right now. Please take a look at it. Make sure you look at it. She is still out there as far as we know, and hopefully people will continue to look for her until we have found her one way or the other. It's important to tell people that the GPD and the FBI are offering a $20,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest and conviction of those involved in this young girl's disappearance. So a news release from the 2 agencies recently said that investigators believe McMichael may have been the victim of foul play, and the search remains an active and ongoing investigation. So whatever you can do to help the Gary Police Department or the FBI continue to look for this young girl from our community, from our region. Remember, she has a mother, she has a father, she has a grandmother, Miss Dahlia Guerrero, who's been out there talking about her a lot. She is loved and she is missed. And it is important that we as a community come together and find Miss Ja'Niyah McMichael, 14, just turned 14. It's important to remind people that she's been missing since August 12th. So we are coming up on, I think this would be 9 months. 9 months, 10 months that she has been missing. She was seen wearing a black hoodie, black pajamas, and red and black Air Jordans. She went missing from the 1900th block of Malcolm X Drive here in the city of Gary. The city of Gary first released an update on her disappearance on October the 25th. In October, they said they were working with the FBI and Department of Children's Services to investigate this case, reported tips and leads according to the city of Gary's website. And so if you have any information whatsoever on the disappearance of Ja'Niyah McMichael, 14 years old, please, tips can be given anonymously to the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov, or just call 911. I'm sure the police, I'm sure that they'll find a way to get you in contact with who you need to talk to. But we have to find Miss Ja'Niyah McMichael. Her family deserves to know what happened, where she is. Please, everybody, this is a young girl who is loved and who is missed by her family. That number again is 1-800-CALL-FBI. And you can also submit tips at tips.fbi.gov. All right, folks, when we get back, we're going to talk about why, tell me why, America wants to get rid of Africa's greatest leader in the Africa Report. We'll be right back after these.